When you have your wonderful idea and you want to start a business, you need to consider the form of your business, and you've got a choice of 4 legal forms if you wish. You can be a sole trader, you can be a limited company, you can be a partnership or a limited liability partnership. And your choice will depend on several factors. You need to consider your commercial needs, your tax position, and how much financial risk you're prepared to take. Usually, startups go for either sole trader or limited company. And as you grow, you can always change the legal form of your business after you start trading. Very important. You really need to get a very firm handle on your tax affairs. Again, a lot will depend on what type of business form, legal form you select for your business. And your accountant should be able to advise you on various tax matters, because there are advantages, disadvantages to being a sole trader or limited company when it comes to tax. For example, if you're sole trader, you will be paying personal rate of tax on your profits after your expenses. As a limited company, your tax rate would be much lower. And again, you will need to decide whether to be VAT registered or not. And again, there are disadvantages and advantages to being either. For example, if you're buying a lot of stock or equipment when you start your business, it might be useful to be VAT registered because you can claim a lot of it back. Also, if you expect high sales from beginning and you will reach your VAT threshold of £77,000, then you ought to be VAT registered. You can always deregister if your sales fall below 75,000. Obviously, if you're planning to employ people, you will be paying national insurance contributions, actually both for yourself and your employees, so you need to consider that aspect as well. When you decide where to run your business from home or from an office, you have to consider, again, a number of factors. For example, if you decide to be home-based, you need to look at your title deed, you need to look at your mortgage obligations to see whether there are any prohibitions of you running a business from your home. If you run business from home, your home might not be considered any longer as a residential property, and there might be tax implications. There might be traffic or lots of visitors to your home. You have to consider what your neighbors will say about that. You might need to get a planning permission, so there is a lot to consider. Also, you have to be compliant with health and safety regulations, environmental regulations. So again, take advice before you decide whether to do it at home or whether hire an office. When it comes to naming your business, you have to have a few pointers in mind. It's exciting time, and you obviously want to give your business a brilliant name that encompasses what you want to do and also helps with your marketing. It's not that easy to choose a good name, but also you need to consider whether it's being in use by another business. Once you chose your name, you need to protect it. You can register it as a trademark, and also you can register domain name or both. And there are organizations that can help you with both checking the availability of the name and protecting it. Like, for example, Patents Office will register your trademark, and there is a specialist website where you can check domain names. Obviously, if you're a sole trader, you can always trade under your own name, but you have to bear in mind if you trade under any other name than your own or your registered business name, there are certain things you must do. For example, you need to disclose your ownership and registered address on your stationery, on the sign outside your office, and on your website. So there's quite a lot to consider. However, I'd like to add that you don't need to feel sort of abandoned, to your own devices. There is a lot to take on and a lot to consider, and equally there is an enormous amount of help available to you. Whether you're a member of the Institute or not, you can find quite in-depth guidance on our website, and members have additional advantage of being able to speak to one of our specialist advisors. So help is always at hand.